means that you would profit off of a company's loss. Now, an investor profits drop off the share. So basically, an investor's profit uh, off the drop of a share. But how exactly does this happen? Basically, the investor borrows a security and immediately sells it on the open market, and this is with a plan to buy it later. So now let me just kind of give you a real life scenario. If I have a pencil which is for $2, now my friend has this pencil and I borrow from him and I borrowed it from him. Now I immediately sell this pencil to someone else for $2. In this case, I did not actually own the pencil. I just sold my friend's pencil. So that means I still have to give it back to him and I am short a pencil. Now, a week later, due to the high supply and low demand, the price for the pencil drops to $1.50. Now, I buy the pencil back at $1.50 and give it to my friend. Now, what happened in this case is that I made 50 cents by betting on the decrease in cost of a pencil. Similarly, in stocks, you borrow a company share, put it on the market, and buy it back later at a lower cost to make a profit. But if let's say the pencil production just went down within that week, and the pencil is now worth $2.5. In this case, I made a loss because of the pencil's increasing price, and I still have to give the pencil back to my friend. So that's why I would not then buy it back at 2.5 and give it back to him, and I would be at a loss of 50 cents. Now, the scenario above where I basically sell this pencil to another person happens within seconds by a brokerage. So all you need to focus on is the decreasing share price of these various companies because that's all that is your concern. Your brokerage handles all the back end. In short words, you make a profit when the price is reduced and a loss when the price is raised. So there are actually two types of stocks that you can buy, a common and a preferred stocks, and these work in parallel directions. A common stock represents ownership in a corporation. With a common stock, you get voting rights for the board of directors. So this is basically that for any decisions that the company makes, any important decisions that the company makes, and basically you get the same voting rights as Sundar Pichai, who is the CEO of Google. And it all happens when you get ownership of a company. However, as fun and exciting as this sounds, you're probably the last people to get a payout if the company sinks under and closes its operation. So you most likely won't be able to get your investment back. With a common stock, you also get this thing known as dividends. Basically, think of dividends as incentive to you get to continue holding on to their share. The company pays you a piece of their profit every year. So basically a quarter is 2.5 months. So the company company gives you a quarterly dividend for holding on to their share, and usually this is 1 to 6%, or no, now it's 2 to 6% of the value of the share at the given quarter. So, so basically, every quarter, if a stock is priced around $100, if the stock is priced at $100, then you can get $5 every quarter, which sums up to around $20 every year. So now tech stocks don't usually give out dividends, and this is because they soar very high. Their prices increase exponentially. So they don't need to give out quarters. They don't need to give out dividends every quarter because their stock already performs so well, and investors already make a lot of money from it. Now this is the exception of Apple, as I know Apple does give out dividends. Preferred stocks are kind of the opposite of common stocks, although they also represent ownership in a corporation. With a preferred stock, you're the first person to get a payout. However, you don't get any voting rights for the board of directors of the company. You also have to pay a premium for preferred stocks. You have to pay more than what the share price is listed. For preferred stocks, you pay a premium because you're one of obviously the first few people get a payout, and it's a bit riskier for the company if it sinks under or shuts down. And in this case, your investment is kind of protected. It's kind of protected. And along with this, you also get preferred claim on assets. So, entering the market as a teen is a bit more complicated than it seems. The minimum age to make a stock trade is 18 and above. So, as a teen, your choices are left to get a custodial account in which your parents will have full control regarding the investment decisions you make, or you can use your parents' account and advise them regarding these stocks. And if nothing works out, then just practice and learn. in this age, we have the medium of technology to teach us basically anything. So if you're interested, then just learn and prepare yourself. So when you are able to trade, then you have the skills to do so. So now I will be going over index funds, which are a residual income stream, which means a passive income stream. So index funds are an interesting type of investment to cover. In fact, a survey shows that most Americans are uncomfortable with the term index funds when it comes to the most talk about the financial terms. Basically, an fund is a type of a mutual fund or an exchange traded fund, and they also offer ownership in a wide array of stocks rather than just one stock. This offers immediate diversification. The word index means a portfolio of stocks and bonds, and index funds mimic the financial market index. So, who here can give an example of a financial market index? Yeah, the FTSE 100, and that is one of them. Yeah, Dow Jones. That's quite a popular one, and one of these is actually listed on the slide, which is one of the more popular ones. S&P, yeah, S&P 500. Okay, so I'll just answer a few questions in the chat. Um, okay, so yeah, I can go over entering the market as a team at the end. So the right age to invest in stocks would basically be after you have gained enough knowledge to invest in it. There's no exactly right age, but it's always like the earlier you start, the better it is. Uh, that would basically be that would basically be my kind of suggestion, that to just like learn first and then invest. Okay, so a very popular example is the S&P 500, which shows the performance and are composed of the largest 500 companies in the USA. So if you buy an S&P 500 index fund, you're basically partial owner in largest 500 companies in the USA. Now, a financial market index is present to give the investor a general overview of how the markets are doing. A significant rise or decrease in a fund such as the S&P 500 conveys that there may be like a bull, which means a profitable, or a bear, which means a declining bull season coming up. If you've ever gone to New York and you've ever been outside the New York Stock Exchange, you would notice that there is a bull there, and that bull just basically means to be in a profit. So one cannot actually invest in a financial market index. So that is where they use index funds, and these index funds, they just mimic the financial market index. So these index funds are run by companies and are known to be a source of passive income because they are not actively managed. So that means there are lower expenses. That means there are lower expenses and there are lower fees. Okay, so I know that I'm going a bit too fast. So if you can just write down in the chat if you kind of understand this and if I need to kind of decrease down my pace. Okay, so I will try to go a bit slower as I do see a comment that I need to go a bit slower. Okay, so basically almost every financial market index has an index fund. So these are various companies who sell their index funds, and when you invest in one, you need to make sure that you're investing with the right company. And I will be explaining this further. I'll be explaining this further with this topic. But basically, there's the 500 companies in the USA, which is the S&P 500. That's the index fund, and I think so. There's also an index fund for gold as well, and that's basically every financial market index. So the index funds that you can buy are known as ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. And you can buy and sell these anytime during market hours, and this is just like stocks. ETFs basically allow index funds, basically to follow index funds and they track their prices. Now, this does not have to be the price, but it's more so on the movement. So if let's say it's an ETF for the S&P 500, that ETF could be $500 and the S&P is like $3,000, but they kind of follow the same movement. So if the S&P 500 goes up by 20%, then the ETF for S&P 500 would also go up by 2,500. Would also go up by 20%. So you can also buy index funds through your brokerage, but they do not allow you to trade throughout the day. That's basically the difference between index funds and ETFs. And ETFs are more towards short-term investing and more towards like intraday trading, while index funds are more towards passive investing. So now there's a key investment mindset that index funds feed off of, and this is the passive investment strategy, which means that you don't have to watch out or touch your investment at all. So just let all your money work for you. Come back in a few decades with a very, and you come back with a few decades in a very with a very steep return. And this is if economically everything is going well. Now, obviously, this is a positive scenario, which is not always realistic, but this is the track that a lot of investors like to follow. So another important thing to note is that the main difference between an index fund and mutual funds is that index funds thrive on the theory that over time the market will beat majority of the funds managed by a person or team in returns. So it's essentially the market always wins. But well, is this theory true? It true. So studies have shown that over long periods of time, the market has beat most actively managed funds. But looking for the short term, mutual funds tend to beat the market a lot. So basically, before choosing your investments, you really have to consider your investment horizon and whether you want to wait 30 years for the best to get the best return. And it is proven that if you put in like $300 every month or $400 every month towards your towards S&P 500, then over the span of 30 years, you can compound it, and then you would basically be a millionaire with a 10% average return. Or if you want kind of more of a short-term approach where mutual funds would be a bit better. So it's always recommended to go for long-term investing, especially for teens, because we do have the advantage of time. But obviously that just depends on your situation, and you can also look into short-term investing. But for I guess generally long-term investing would be a bit better for especially if you have a lot of time. So, as always, investments have pros and cons, and although index funds are great, there are always downsides. So, let's start with the pros. So, index funds boast very low fees and also have a lower exposure, which may not seem like a big deal, but when it comes to investment taxes, the sum can get pretty great. There's also proven theory that over time, passive management tends to outperform, and the built-in diversification is also great for risk management because you are owner of multiple companies at once, so you're already diversified. So the cons of index funds. So first, there is no downside protection. So if your investment loses money, there is no one that can control it and try to shift your investment. So basically, you're just stuck there until the market goes up again. A prime example of this is COVID when the market went down, and everyone thought that kind of like the market will stay in that level until COVID, but then the market just soared back up, and people who bought the index fund when the market was down made a lot of money then. So index funds also aren't able to take advantage of emerging opportunities as it just sticks with the same investments. It also cannot lose stocks that are weighing the portfolio down, and all of this is due to a lack of kind of professional management. So while passive management strategies are beneficial, there are definitely some downsides to it. And I guess like the major downside would just be the unpredictability and possibly an economic decline. So index funds and stocks are popular investment choices and are basically great investments. Now, do remember that this is just financial literacy and not financial advice. But basically, in the gist of it, They both have their different features of pros and cons. So it is always important to do your own research before you make your own investment decision. So before we go on further, do you have any questions? Okay, so we can go on to the test your knowledge part. So the first question is, why are index funds different from mutual funds? So some resources to learn about how to invest in the stock market. I would probably say the best is to read articles on popular investment websites such as Investopedia and NerdWallet to kind of first get the basics down, and then those articles are very detailed and are very like in depth for good market understanding. So the first question is, why are index funds different from mutual funds? Okay, so basically the answer to this is that yeah, basically index are more long term and mutual are more short term. And that index funds, they basically thrive on the theory that over time the market will beat majority of the other funds that are managed either by a person or a team, and mutual fund is managed by a person or a team. And this theory is that the market will beat in terms of returns. So the second question is, do preferred stocks give you voting rights? Yeah, they do not give you voting rights, and only the common stock give you voting rights. But there's also some upsides to preferred stocks that aren't present in common stocks. Okay, the next one is a fairly simple one. What is one of the most popular indexes? Yeah, S&P 500. And how many days does the SEC give to the seller to deliver the stock certificate? So how many days does the SEC give for the seller to actually give the stock to the buyer? Yeah, three. So they give three now, and before when everything wasn't online and when there were online brokerages, they used to give five. Okay, so that's all for me. Now, are there any questions? Okay, so we'll move on to the next thing.
So I'm Archie, and today I'll be doing brokerage accounts. So now that you've learned about two exciting investments, you're probably very eager to start, but you don't know how. Well, we are now going to go over how to actually open an investing account and start your investment journey, even as someone who is under the legal age, which is 18. So, what are brokerage accounts? So a brokerage account is what most investors use to buy and sell securities like stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. As a beginner, I wondered, can I just go into a company's website and purchase some stocks? Unfortunately, as I've come to learn, this is not the case. Brokerage accounts are affiliated through brokerage firms. So these are companies or institutions which will aid in the buying and selling of stocks and other investments. Brokerages, they essentially work as the middleman between companies and you purchasing the investments. So, to further knowledge on what brokerage accounts are, we need to understand how they are used. So, with these accounts, you can transfer the money that you would want to fund your investments within, into, and out of your account, similar to a bank account. But the difference here is that we can use this money to purchase things that will further grow our money, rather than just letting it sit around in your account. Now, there's a common misconception that you have to be 18 or over to start investing. But that's not the case. I'm a 14-year-old and a perfect proof of a young investor. This was all made possible because I opened a custodial brokerage account, and that happened with the help of my parents. So, this is the key to investing early. So, now that I have you hooked, let's talk about two different types of brokerage accounts. The first one, it's called a full service brokerage account. So the main benefit of a full service brokerage account is that there is a person or a team managing your investments and a lot of times advising you on what you should further purchase. So you have to compensate them. Although these accounts come with professional advice, the downside is that these are a lot more expensive, as it is someone else's job to manage your investment. So you have to compensate them accordingly. This is why full service accounts are generally recommended for adults or investors that have larger incomes because that, number one, there's more assets to manage and higher incomes to pay for this type of account. Moving on to discount brokers. So discount brokers are basically the opposite of full service brokerage accounts because these take a do-it-yourself approach and you don't have any advisors managing your assets. Because there's no one managing your portfolio and you are making all of your investment decisions and doing the work for yourself, discount brokers are a lot less expensive and you have to pay a lot less to purchase your securities. So this is why we recommend discount brokers to teens and anyone who have relatively simple investment portfolios. And you have to pay a lot less to purchase your securities. So this is why we recommend discount brokers to them. For discount broker services, we recommend TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, and Fidelity. I personally use the TD Ameritrade, and I love it because I'm willing to put in my own research, and I don't have to pay for someone to manage my investment. So these are the steps to creating a brokerage account. First, you have to decide on your account type. Then you have to pick a brokerage firm or service. After that, you need to enlist the help of a parent or your legal guardian to help open the account. And after that, you can start on your investing journey. Now, let's go into the depth of creating a brokerage account. Step one is deciding on an account type. And basically here, you have to ask yourself, will a full service or online broker better meet my needs and priorities? So once you've figured out which type of broker you want to pursue, you have to pick a brokerage firm or service. And you can start by looking at the brokers we recommended. But it's also important to do your own research. Some key factors to look for are to look for providers with no fees or minimums, to consider commission fees on investments, to make sure the services are easy to use and you'll understand how to purchase your investments. And lastly, to look at the selection of securities that the firm offers and make sure that you have everything that you would want to invest in. Step three, it's to enlist the help of a parent because we know you can't open an account by yourself legally. When completing this process, you usually require around 15 minutes and it's a relatively simple and completed fully online. So it's accessible to anyone, anywhere online. And also if you have stable internet. So you just need to start researching and start investing. And if you've gotten here, you really are set. All right. Any questions before we go on to the next? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Arushi. So now I'm going to be talking about savings accounts, which are also very important along with brokerage accounts because although investing is a lot more lucrative and it does offer higher returns, it is risky and it is not guaranteed that you will keep all of your money in your investment accounts. So savings accounts are important to have a guaranteed pool of cash when you need it. So let's talk about what a savings account is. And a savings account is essentially an account that allows you to deposit a certain amount of money and you can earn interest on this money saved. But although you are gaining interest, the interest paid on savings accounts is quite low, and thus it is a good idea to also invest in order to grow your money. But with that being said, savings is still very important to have a safely stored pool of money. So now let's talk about the steps to take to open a savings account. And again, these are pretty simple. It's more about doing the research to pick the best account. So to do this, first off, you're going to want to consider opening an online or a high yield savings account, as these offer much higher interest rates. And how this manifests is that normal brick and mortar banks, at least in America, they usually have 0.01 or 0.02% interest rates. And obviously, that is very low and won't provide you with much profit at all. But when you get into the high yield savings accounts, these can offer anywhere from 0.5% to upwards of 1%. So obviously there is a big difference here, and you're definitely going to want to look into these type of accounts. And to see what interest rates you are getting, you're going to need to check the APY on these accounts, which is the annual percentage yield, and this shows what your interest rates will be. And after doing that, you're also going to want to make sure that the account you choose has no opening deposit and it has low maintenance fees, because you don't want to have to be paying a lot of fees for your account. So once you've done the hard part of picking your account, now you just need to set it up. So you're going to enlist your parent once again, because this is going to be a custodial savings account if you are under 18. And there are two main pathways you can go. So if you're going to a brick and mortar bank to open your account, then you can head over to your local bank with your guardian and you can submit your application along with your initial deposit. So the amount you're going to start your bank account with. And if you choose an online account, you can get a parent, sit down and submit an online application, which should again take 15 minutes. So it'll be very similar to submitting a brokerage account. So to wrap all this up, both investing and saving are very different but both important parts of financial well-being. And to open these types of accounts, all you need to do is a bit of research to make sure you're opening the best account for you. And you can just set these up with the help of a parent, which is always pretty easy. So now let's test your guys' knowledge. So our first question is going to be, what is the main difference between a full service and an online brokerage account? Oh yeah, and to answer the question in the chat, there is a difference, and this difference is between the interest rates. So most, whether it's like physical banks kind of, these have a lot lower interest rates. So you're going to be paid a lot less for the money in your account versus online accounts, which offer much higher interest rates. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, what is the main difference between full service and online brokerage accounts? And if we do need a bit, full service do the research for you. Yes, perfect. Yeah, so with full service, there are advisors doing the research and making the purchases for you. And with online, you do it yourself. Yeah, so then for question 2, how can you open a brokerage account if you are under 18? Yep, custodial accounts. Awesome, guys. And then our last question is, why do we recommend online savings accounts? And I did just go over this, but yeah, why do we recommend doing it online versus a physical bank? Yep, these have a lot higher interest rates. So thank you so much, guys. I'm going to pass it back over to Armida.
Okay, so thank you to all of you for your awesome presentations. And to wrap this up, we're going to be playing a short game slash simulation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and then I'm going to tell you how to access that. Okay, so I'm going to be typing the link in the chat. So if everyone can go to this link, I can tell you guys how it would work. And I'm going to share my screen for this section. Okay, so if you guys go under the arcade tab on this page, you'll be able to access these arcades, and we are going to be doing this one. So you would go here and press play the game, and then we can get the game started. So type in the chat once you've accessed this. And if you have any questions about how to access it, feel free to type that in the chat as well. So I see some people are able to get to the page. I'm going to demonstrate that again. So once you come to this page, once you scroll down, you'll be able to see on the third row, and then you would press play the game. So I see some people are accessing it, and that's great. So you guys can get started on the game once you're on the page. And also, once you're done playing, make sure to indicate that in the chat as well so that we can move on to the next section of the event. This takes about 15 minutes, so it should be done in around 10 minutes now. Okay, everyone, so now we can start the next section of our event, which is our guest speaker, Cindera Che, who is a veteran actor, dancer, and certified financial professional. So you can get started.
Hello, hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
All right. Is my mic too loud?
No, it's great.
Okay, very good. Let me leave on my phone. I've been listening to the wonderful presentations that you guys been having. So, good morning, everyone, or is it afternoon? Yes, it's 9 o'clock here in Los Angeles. Good to see everybody. I I would love to see some of your faces. How do you all feel about sharing your video? Sharing your video. Let me see some faces. Let's see who's willing to do that. Yay! Okay, got one. Thank you. There you go. See, now I'm seeing pretty faces, pretty smiles, wonderful backgrounds outside, sunshine. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much. Yes. Who else? Who else can join in? Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Wow. You all look so young. Are you all high school students? Thumbs up if you're high school. Can you? Yeah. So if, yes. Excellent. Excellent. And college? All right, got you. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name because I'm really bad. People always, you know, make a mess of my name, so I want to be respectful. Um, welcome, welcome. All right, great. I'm checking out my bangs. All right. Great. Ah, get some coffee. So, out of everything that you went through this morning, what was something that really grabbed you? Just put in the chat. Something that it was an aha moment, or yes, I'm going to follow that. Savings account. Okay. Interesting. Very good. Okay. Please repeat your question. My question is, out of everything that you went through for the last hour, what got your attention? Okay. Well, emotional realization about yourself. Can you expand on that, Jordan?
Oh well, this morning I had a therapy session and it was very productive, and so I just learned a little bit more about myself, and I'm really glad to have expanded that, I guess.
That's really, really, thank you for sharing that. Knowing yourself is part of growing up and part of making your plans for your life, and also very important for financial decisions. You need to know that you're somebody who is willing to take risks, or you want to play safe. Um, so yes, even though that has nothing to do with finance, Jordan's answer, but that is a very important part of going in and investing and achieving your financial goals. Let me see, look at a couple other answers. Exactly. Yes, to be successful, you need to have self-knowledge about finance if our dreams are big at an early age. I love that. This is an excellent segment. Dreams. Dreams. What are your dreams? What do you see yourself? What do you want to get to? What is your financial goal anyway? Is it so you can have a specific types of lifestyle? Is it you want experiences? You want to see the world? You want to be able to help out your family? What are some of your dreams or financial goals? Live comfortably without worrying about money, financial independence, social entrepreneur, philanthropist, thank you, financially secure, happy and successful, travel, more experiences. more memory making experiences. Great. I was asked that question yesterday, and because he is a kind of a typical financial advisor, he asked me, "What do you want to do when you retire? What is your dream?" There you go. What about me? I'm telling you now. What do you want to do when you retire? What is your dream? Is it when you retire that you want to travel the world and you want to sit on the beach and sipping pina coladas? And that's what they always say. But for me, two things. One, I don't really like the word retire because I am motivated. I love what I do. I want to always be working. I enjoy working. I enjoy growing and putting myself out there. So retirement sounds like not working. So I'm not gonna use that word. So and then so I'm gonna use retirement as where I can be when I don't have to work. When I don't have to work, not when I want to stop working. Okay, so I'm gonna make that one change. Number two, what is your dream? And so I said, you know what? I am an artist. I want to support all my friends. I want to I want to go to my friends' restaurants. I want to buy every handmade leather jackets, leather wallets, jewelries that my friends make. I want to I want to order flowers from my friend's florist every month. I want to I want to support all of the businesses around me that's formed by my friends. I want to fund uh, I want to fund a film project. I want to fund a research project. I want to fund an organization that's that's the art project for the community, for the high schools. I want to fund an after school program. That is my dream. That is my financial dreams. that is that is how I want to spend my money. Yes, I like all the material stuff too, yes, but for deeper purpose, I want to be wealthy for that deeper purpose so I can give to people and support people and bring other people up. Now, a little about myself. I'm going to share the screen now, but please keep your video on because I will look up and I want to see some faces. It just warms my heart. Little bit about myself, sharing my screen. First, we're going to have a real, there you go. That's me, and that is my email address. I'll show that slide again. If you want to contact me anytime for a free consultation, we can do that. So I started out, or I still am, I'm a performer. I've been a dancer, actor all of my life. Here's me. I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. Started dancing when I was little. Here's me, 5 years old, graduating from preschool. And my claim to fame was dancing with Michael Jackson in the music video Smooth Criminal. That was like in 87 or something. And even most recently, I did an episode of Fresh Off the Boat on ABC. Even most recently, I danced in a Christmas special with Mariah Carey. That was on Apple TV Plus. I don't know if it's still up. And I did an episode of Why Women Kill, season 2 on CBS. So I'm showing you this, it's not to impress you, but to show you that to live a life doing what you love is possible. Doing what you love. What are y'all's backgrounds? I know Armita is in science and engineering. What are your backgrounds? What do you do? What are you studying to be? What will you be your profession or career? See in the chat. Type in the chat. You are a ballet dancer, engineer, aviation. Wonderful. Yes, studying to be a chemical engineer. All right, great. Follow your passion. Do what you love. I know a Chinese person, I didn't get a lot of support from my family. They'd always like, no, you gotta be a doctor and you're gonna have a real job. But no, follow your passion. Just learn to follow your passion, do what you love, and the money will follow. And the next part is give your money a job. That's why we're here. Okay, what you do and building wealth can be a separate thing. Do what you love, follow your heart, and make your money work hard. And that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm showing the slides. Now I'm going to show you the next slide. This slide, this was about 33 years ago. And I'm right here. And I was doing a job in Rome, Italy on a TV show. Every week we have a different theme. And this is the opening number, and we're wearing these crazy outfits. We get to wear that outfit every week, Friday, live. By the end of the 3 months, those costumes are like all crunchy and ready to fall apart. But anyway, as I bring up this slide is because this is the most secure employment I've had as a performer. You know, with being a performer, you can book a job and you cannot book a job for 2 years. And this job was 3 months and I was getting paid really well. And hello, I was in Rome eating Italian food, drinking Italian wine, buying Italian shoes, hanging out with Italian boys. That was a great time. Okay, I was able to come back with $10,000. $10,000. Now, if I've known what to do with my money, then I will show you. I will show you where's my slide. Hey, where's my slide? There's my slides, but hold on one second. Hey, there you go. I'm gonna go to, oh, okay. Sorry. Move this thing. Okay, somebody wanted to be admitted. Okay, I'm going to go to investor.gov. Everybody can access this this website. I'm going to go to financial tools. You're going to go to calculator. I'm going to go to calculator. I'm going to go to compound interest calculator. Okay, so I want to show you something. Remember I said I had $10,000? Okay, if I would have put that $10,000 away and monthly contribution, never putting any money anymore, and length of time in years. If I would have started this 33 years ago, and how much would I have now? But I don't really want to have it now. I want to stop having to work in 20 years. So I'm going to add 20 more years on top of that 33 years. So that will be 53 years. And I'm going to earn a return rate of 10. And when I click on calculate, if I put that $10,000 away and never put in another penny, this is how much money I could have in 20 years when I stop working. Wow. Earlier, somebody talked about being in the market when you're young. This is why you need to do it now. You need to start now. Earning 10% interest, keep it there. Most of you are what, like 19, 20, 50 years from that time, you will be 70. I know it. I mean, just say, hey, what if we just say you are 20? If you put $10,000 in and you're 20, just say we'll give you 40 years. You'll be 60. Let's see, what number would that be? You'll have $450,000. So let's do a reverse engineering. If we say, hey, if we say we want to have $1 million, one with 6 zeros, and initial investment, you're going to put away $250 today. Year to grow. You're 20, so you're going to stop having to work at, say, 65. That's like the normal retirement age. So 65 minus 20, that's 45. And we're going to learn 10%. So when I hit calculate, it will show you how much money you need to put away each month to get to $1 million when you're 65. $113. $113 each month. If you start putting that money away now, by the time you're 65, you'll have $1 million. Okay, somebody said no problem. Great. Somebody say, wow, yes, yes. $100. Some people, you probably get $500 for your birthday money. Put that away for your 5 months contribution. Let's talk about interest. Okay, bye-bye, pretty slides. Why would your money grow so much? Because the rule of 72. Mr. Albert Einstein said that rule of 72 is the 8th wonder of the world. He said if you take the interest rate that you're earning, divide into 72, that will give you the number of years that your money will double. So, in the case of a 29-year-old putting $10,000, the money will double once in 7.2 years, double twice, double 3 times, double 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Okay? So when it's double, it's not doubling from the original amount, it's doubling from the double. That's where the compounding interest really does its magic. Okay, so earlier people were talking about savings account. Savings account is all the way over here. This is why we cannot afford to leave our money in the savings account, because it's paying less than 1%. And by the time you're 101, you only double your money once. That's why I'm saying do what you love, make the money, and assign a job to your money and say, you go work hard and make me double rate of return, double-digit rate of return. Okay? That's about interest. Let's talk about ways of investing. Earlier, you guys talked about index and ETF and the mutual funds and different stock markets, securities. When you put your money in the savings account or a CD, they guarantee a fixed rate. You will earn your money, but it's very slow, not very exciting. Or you put your money in the market, and that is volatile, it's variable, it goes up, it goes down. That happens especially with just individual stocks. It happens with mutual funds and index funds, but it's a little less because you have a basket of funds. So you're diversified. So that's a better situation, but it's still an up and down situation. Or you have the indexed strategy. This index, I'm not referring to the same as earlier you were talking about the S&P 500 index, the Dow Jones. This is an indexed strategy where your account is in an account that mirrors the performance of the market. It mirrors the performance of the different index. In this strategy, when the market goes up, you get the profit, and you get to lock in that profit, locked in. And if the next year the market goes down, you stay because you have a 0% protection. And then the next year it goes up, you go up again, and you stay locked in. And then you're protected again. So far and so on. How many people know about the index account? Let me see a show of hands. The index strategy. Zero. Okay, great. I mean, not great that you didn't know about it. It's like, great, thank you for your feedback. Investing is important, but it's also very important to protect your money, protect your principal. So in this case, your principal is protected. So how does the money lock in? Because this account, it's not, your money is not actually in the S&P 500. It's in an account separate from it. And this contract, it's with an insurance company. So the insurance company, they're able to give you the profit, locks it in. If the market goes down, it supports you. The insurance company will pay for the difference. So you stay, and then you go up and go up. Well, why would insurance companies do that? Because insurance companies make their money on other insurance policies that no payout on the claims. For example, a term life insurance, if people don't die, they've been paying it for 30 years, they get to keep all that premium. That's how they make their money. And also, they give you a cap. If the market goes up to 30%, they'll only give you a 20% cap. So you're not able to enjoy the total gains of the market, but you also get to be protected on the downside. Okay, so we talked about interest, how we need to earn double-digit interest, and we talked about how different strategies. Which ones are you comfortable with? Is it more risky or less risky? Now, let's talk about taxes. Taxes. Okay, can you please tell us about the Bitcoin? You want me to talk about Bitcoin? Do you care about what I just said? Ankit, can you answer me that? Are you listening to me? Okay. Okay. If you have a specific idea of things that you want to learn, write it down. At this moment, I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you. Get the knowledge that I'm sharing, and maybe you can apply into what you're interested in. I have money in Bitcoin. I have doubled my money, yes, but we're not talking about Bitcoin right now. The next slide is taxes. How many of you are in the United States? Raise your hand. Give me a something. None of you are in the United States. One. Okay. Good. Okay. Well, I'm sure wherever you are, you have to pay taxes. Yes? Wherever you are. Well, in the United States, we have a tax now, tax later, or tax advantage accounts. When you earn your money, you pay income tax. That's right here. Uncle Sam wants income tax. But they allow you to put your money away in the tax later account. So you take your money, you put it in a 401k or individual retirement account, IRA. You put that away. You save. You don't have to pay taxes on that money that you put away. Awesome. However, when that money grows and grows and grows into hundreds and thousands of dollars, now you have to pay taxes on that. Think about that. Would you rather pay money on the seed, or do you want to pay taxes on the crops that your seed produces? Yeah. What about over here? Tax advantaged. And in this case, many cases, it's actually tax free. In your Roth IRA account, you pay your taxes on the seed, and the seed can grow to acres and acres and acres of crops, and you never have to pay taxes again. How does that sound? Okay, I got one thumb up. Okay, great. Yeah. So two situations can offer that tax advantage: your Roth IRAs and also a cash accumulation in the insurance policy. I want to spend the rest of the time talking about insurance. It's a way to protect your principal, like what we talked about earlier, and it's a way to save on taxes. Two things. And please listen to it carefully, because this is also very important for your parents. Now they're retiring. They're thinking about how they're going to have that income keep coming, or maybe they have health issues. Who's going to take care of them? Are you going to pay for somebody to take care of them? Or a lot of cases, they want their family members to take care of them. I mean, I love my family. I love to take care to I love to show my love for my parents, but I have a life. I have a career. I have my dreams. So I'd rather be able to have enough money to pay for their care, go visit every day if you want, but still pursue my dreams. Age and illness will drag down one life, but in my opinion, one life is enough. I don't want to have to drag down the daughter's life, the grandchildren's life, because we have to all take care of grandma. So let's get financial savvy. Let's get some wealth so we can pay for the care. If they're not able to do that, maybe you can start thinking about that. So usually, okay, let's see. The cash accumulation in the insurance policy is an available tax advantage in Canada too. I am not sure, but we do have companies in Canada. I just talked to somebody last week because I have a client who's interested in taking advantage of different solutions, and I have her talk to him. They offer different things. So yeah, a lot of the solutions I'm talking about is in the USA. So yeah, so going back to insurance. Earlier I talked about how insurance companies make money. Term life insurance. They protect you for the terms that you buy into, 10 to 30 years. When the term is over, your coverage ends, no cash value. That's why the insurance company can make money, because 99% of policies don't get paid out. But what happens is people buy term life insurance when they're 30s or 40s, and 30 years later, they're 70s, term life is finished. They say, oh my goodness, now it's when I really need it. But now it's 3 times as much. Now, let's look at permanent life insurance. Permanent life insurance covers you all the way till you die. You can die whenever and your money will be paid out. However, what if I need the money? What if I need the money now? Talking about long-term care, talk about being old and unable to move and illnesses. Wouldn't it be nice if I can access that money while I'm still living? Yes, and there's something like that, and that is called universal life, index universal life insurance. Tell me something. I have all your photos on the top bar of my screen. Can you see the bar of your own photos? No, you just see my screen? Yes, okay. So in the index life insurance, you have the death benefit. In this case, it's $500,000. When the person dies, it covers any debt. It replaces the income. So if one of the parents died, they'll replace the income. You can pay for mortgages. What happened if one of the parents died and you don't have enough income to come in to pay for mortgages? Now you have to sell the house and find another apartment for the survivor family members to move on. All of a sudden, your life just been complicated tenfold. So that's why we have death benefit, and that is passed on tax-free. Another reason you have your death benefit is to pay for final expenses. So many people, so many of my friends have freaking GoFundMe account when they die. Their family put out a GoFundMe account. My heart goes out to them. GoFundMe is not life insurance. You got to be responsible. Take care of your family. Leave them a lump sum of money so they can pay for the final expenses, pay for your credit card debt, or pay down the mortgage. And for your children, support them with their education expenses. That's death. That's what life insurance is all about. But in this case, it also has a cash value. It's like a savings account. Earlier, somebody asked about savings account. This is an interesting concept of putting your money away in the savings account inside the insurance policy. Now, this money is yours. You can access it. So the death benefit right here is for when you die too soon. And the cash value here is for if you live too long. You don't want to outlive your money. The money here is invested, part of it, a little bit, is invested in a fixed strategy, earning a small percent of interest. But what do we have here? Part of the money is invested in an index strategy. That means you never lose your principal. So you are invested, you're able to enjoy the gains of the market, but your principal is protected. And because this is inside an insurance policy, it's not a retirement account, so you don't have the age 59 and a half rule. You can take out your money anytime, or should I say, you can access your money anytime in the form of a loan or withdrawals. And that loan and withdrawals is no tax and no interest. Borrow on your own money, no interest. It has a minimum guarantee floor, like I told you about, and is tax deferred, actually tax free, and it can be flexible contributions. You can put in a lot, and hard times come, you can scale it down. Now, for your parents, for people my age, the next bucket is it. You can access between 2 to 4% of your death benefit monthly. So in this case, if your grandparents, your parents cannot move on their own, eat on their own, they can go on the long-term care claim, and they can take 2, or just say 2% out of the $500,000 is $10,000 a month. Can you imagine? Every month you get a check for $10,000. You can use that to pay a caretaker to come into the house, to clean, to cook, or if you need to put them in the assisted living place, you can use that to pay rent. Now, how do you go on to a long-term care claim if you cannot perform 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living? If you can't eat by yourself, take a bath, getting dressed by yourself, transferring control of your bowel movement, or going to the bathroom by yourself. My father just passed away January 5th, and I took care of him. He stayed right here in my guest room. He cannot go to the bathroom by himself. He cannot wipe by himself. He wears diapers. He could not walk. Cannot take a bath. It was very sweet to put him in the bath and give him a sponge bath and wash his hair. It was very sweet, but it was a lot. It was a lot on me, on my husband, on my daughter. Imagine you can access that $10,000 each month. And in this case, you don't even have to show the insurance company the receipt. That's why it's cash indemnity. Once your claim is approved, they just give you the money. You can pay yourself. You can pay your neighbor. Okay? So that is protection for your family, for your elder ones. But since you're all 20 years old, let's talk about this exciting part. Let's talk about this savings. What can you do for you? I am going to show you a policy that I did for a 20-year-old. Okay, right there, and I'm gonna bring it over. I'm gonna bring it smaller, and I'm gonna make it bigger here. Okay, she is 20 years old. So every year, she's gonna put away $1,500. $1,500. That's a little more than $100 a month. And she has a death benefit of almost $200,000. Okay? And she'll do that for 10 years. And after that, she's gonna up her contribution to $200 a month. So she's now 30 years old. She has a job. She's able to afford it. And she's gonna pay more. And you can see that her death benefit has grown to 210. And remember the savings part? The savings part is over here, the cash accumulation. She has accumulated almost, $11,000. By this point, she puts in 15,000, and the next year she put in at that, so she put in 17,000, and she actually can access 11,000. Well, what's the difference? Difference went to the cost of insurance. The cost of insurance that protects you. If anything happened to her, she can have $200,000. So that's why the money amount difference. She pay in 15. Well, over here, she pay in 15. If you just follow this line, she has 9,000 available, and she has over 200,000 coverage. And it jumped to 3,000 because the money compounds. So she does that for another 10 years. She's 39 now. She put in 39,000. She can access to 43,000. You see, that is the accumulated savings account. That's her money. And now her death benefit is 242,000. She's now 40 years old. We're going to up her contribution a little more, $250 a month. And she'll do that for another few years. And now she's 65. She's done. She's going to put in her last $3,000. Her death benefit now is $467,000. She has access to $350,000. So you can take it out as a loan. When you want to buy a house, you can take it out as a loan. You can take it out as, by this time she has a family, if she wants to fund her daughter's wedding or fund her daughter's education, you can get that money because that's your money. Now, after that, she's going to start taking contribution of $29,000 a year, like free money. Like somebody just give you a check and say, here, $29,000. If she has a job by this time, she probably has other money coming in, but this will be supplemental. It's just extra money. And for somebody like my daughter, she said that she wants to establish a fund, a scholarship fund, using this extra money. You can donate to your favorite charity. You can do whatever you want with it. So she takes out this money from this pot that she's been saving. She does that from the age of 66 all the way to age 86. Okay? So in total, she put in $117,000. She had taken out $617,000 already, and she still has $19,000 to pass on to her heirs. So that is why this is an excellent way, even for young people, to put money in a life insurance, a cash value life insurance. Think about that. What are your thoughts on this? Put it in the chat. Let me look at that. Can you alter the amount of money you put in each month? Yes. Yes. I mean, you can't just start one month and then the next month and hey, you want to change. You should only use that tactic if you're really having a hard time. But if you want to put more money in, that's great, because after all, this is your savings account. When I do this, can you see the chat box on my screen? No? Okay, cool. So you only see my screen. Okay. Let me look at, okay, no other questions. So we're talking about the protection of your money. You work so hard to earn it, to grow it. So this is one way to protect it, because remember, this savings account is in a index strategy that will never lose your principal. Now, I want to show you a slide that we showed in the past seminars. We have a 20-year-old put the money in a mutual fund account for 50 years. $3,000 she put in, and by the end of 50 years, her money grew in this mutual fund to $13 million. Okay, but because this is actually in the market, in the mutual funds, 2001 happened, 2002, 9/11, Enron scandal, she lost what? 13 minus 9, $4 million, like that. And because she has time, she left her money in there, so it grew back up. But then 2008 happened, she lost $5 million, just like that. Now, as a financial advisor, at this point, I would say, hey, do you want to keep your money in the variable, volatile account, or do you want to take it out and put it in an insurance product? And here we are talking about protection. There's something called annuity. Annuity is a contract between you and an insurance company that will provide you with a certain amount of steady income at some point in the future for the rest of your life. So, at that time, if you take out the $13 million, this little box here, and put it in an annuity, you have to keep it in there for between 6 to 10 years at a time. You lock it in, and at that time you decide you want your money to accumulate or you want to create an income for life. If you just want accumulation, at the end of the 10 years, your money will grow to a bigger amount and you just take it out. That's yours. You have to pay taxes on the gain. Or you say, I want an income for life strategy. So 10 years up, you're going to start, well, actually, they can start paying out incomes before the term is up. They will start paying you guaranteed amount of income for the rest of your life. Even whatever, if you live a long time and you used up all your money right here, they will continue to pay you because this contract is with the insurance company, and also they use the index strategy. So again, you never lose your value, never lose your principal. I am looking at the windows right now. Many faces left me again. I'm seeing it names. Do you have any questions? Asia, is that how did I say your name right? I love seeing your pink. I like pink too. Okay. So let me see. Oh, where did it go? I'm gonna look at the chat box. Oh, where did the chat go? Right here. You're all so quiet. How about you if you unmute yourself and ask your question live? Let's do that. Copy of the keynote by any chance? No. What you should do is you contact me and we'll have a consultation so that way we can actually figure out your specific needs. The only way to access that in this strategy is through It's through life. It's through. Okay, the question is the only way to access this index strategy is through life insurance? Yes, for an insurance product, because the insurance had to insure you for the floor, right? They're protecting you the floor. No financial institution is going to do that for you. No bank, no brokerage account, no stock, no ETF. Nobody can guarantee. But the insurance company can, because that's what they do. They bet on never people not having to, they bet on they don't have to pay out any claim. So their reserve is 4 times bigger than the bank. I don't need to get into that, but just know that insurance company, they are highly regulated and they have to have a large reserve before they can write out, guarantee you the policy. What are some the life advice you would give to an 18-year-old? Things you wish you knew. Well, things I wish I knew is this. Financial literacy. Now, because you're all engineers and you're all very smart, I want to show you another fun slide. Da 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 da. What are your thoughts? Okay, here, let me. Disability insurance companies generally have 2 years own occupational limit for this. Okay, well, there's disability insurance that you can buy. That's not my specialty, but if you have a life insurance, you can draw from that cash accumulation pot. You can take, and if you cannot perform 2 out of the 6 daily activities, you can go on the long-term care claim. So I really like this fun slides, and I'm gonna use the last 5 minutes to show you. That, hey, where'd it go? To further, oh, there you go. Index strategy. I just showed you how wonderful it is because you can't lose your your principal. So just say if you take a 10-year time span, 1 year you're up, next year you're down 10%, 1 year you're up 10%, 1 year you're down, and you think by the end of the 10 years, if you up 10, down 10, you'll end up the same. But no. Year 1, you start with 1,000. Year 1, you have 10% gain. You got to 1,100. Year 2, you're down 10%, but you're just not down from the 1,000. You're down from 1,100. So you even go below what you just had. And the next year you go up, but you don't go up from what you had before. You go up from 990. So you go up and never reach back up to the highest, to the 10% earlier. And then next 10% you go down more. Next 10% you go up, but never all the way back up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Every time you have the 10%, thank you, you're down 1,100 now. And then when you go up 10%, you go up only 10% of 990. So at the end of the 10 years, up and down, you have 950. You have $950, even though your return was 0. Up 10, down 10, you think it's even. No, it's not. Now, if you're in the index strategy during the same 10-year period, first year you have up 10. Next year you at 0. You don't go down. And then the next time you go up 10%, you go up from here. You go up 10%. And you don't participate in a down. So at the end of the 10 years, same 10-year period, you end up with 1,600. So comparing the two, same 10-year span, different strategy. You think you had a 0 rate of return. you actually down 4.9. You think you only have 5% return, you actually up 61%. That's because you never participated in the negative. All right, so now I'll go back to my contacting slide. If you need to reach me, please contact me at this Gmail, Cindera Che financial@gmail.com, and we offer you a free consultation. We can talk about your specific situation, and if your parents or anybody who may be interested in life insurance, cash value life insurance, you will have them reach me as well. All right. Thank you very much. Always so nice to speak to young people, and have a wonderful rest of the event.
Yeah, thank you so much for that presentation. I think everyone learned a lot, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye. So now we're going to take a short break before we're joined by our next guest speaker. So I'm going to put on some music and we can take a break, and then we can continue with the next section at the event. So I'm going to start doing that in a second. And also the speaker shared her contact information, so you can feel free to contact her after the event. Okay, guys, so now we are going to be joined by our guest speaker. So the break is over, and I also shared the Spotify playlist in the chat. I didn't make that playlist, but the music is nice, and I know that a lot of you guys like it, so I shared it in the chat. And now we're going to be joined by our speaker, Angelica, who is the creator of Financial Lioness and the author of Investing for the Everyday Investor. So welcome. You're muted.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. Thanks so much for asking me to speak today. So I do have a short presentation that I can share. Give me a second. I'm just going to pull it up on my computer that I prepared. All right, let me share my screen. And can everyone see my screen, hopefully?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So to kind of get started, I just kind of want to start here, and I can go into presentation. All right. So like Armida said, I'm Angelica Imhoede. I have probably kind of haphazardly found myself getting into, I would say, the whole financial literacy platform just kind of haphazardly. It's always been a passion of mine to talk about finances, and especially when it comes to financial literacy. So I just kind of did it last year and kind of took off with it. So to kind of get started, I'm born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I attended the University of St. Thomas, which is a private school here in the Twin Cities. Graduated with a degree in finance, and I'm actually currently there getting my degree in data science. I am married to my husband, Jeremy. I have one child, and his name is Little Jeremy. So we call him LJ because his name is Jeremy, obviously. I'm an audit project manager for a bank in the Twin Cities, and I have my own business called AEI Graphic Studios. And also Financial Lioness is my blog and platform. And like I said, I love talking about money. So I'm obsessed with money. So what is financial literacy? So financial literacy is the ability to use knowledge and skills to manage one's financial resources effectively for a lifetime financial security. My version is how much you know about money and what to use it for that makes sure that it lasts. So obviously that is basically anything you know about money and how you can apply it to your personal finances and your personal life. So to kind of go through the history of money, the concept of money was first introduced around 700 BC. People would trade items for another item to barter for their goods. Eventually, they would create metals, gold to place value on the goods they were trading. But then society began to move away from gold because, as you know, gold is actually really heavy. And just have blocks of gold to trade. So then that's when currency was introduced in 1862 in the United States. Obviously in other places, because the United States is actually a very young country, but in other places like Europe, Africa, Asia, currency was already introduced at this time. Now, I always give a little bit of social activism in my platforms. And it's really important because I can see already that this is a very diverse group of students. So I want to make sure that in my financial literacy platform, I talk a lot about equity. So I talk about how much the dollar rotates in our communities. So for example, in the Asian community, 28 days. So that means whenever someone Asian gets a paycheck, they either take the dollar and they either keep it for themselves, invest it, save it, whatever. Or if they do have to spend money on something like, say, car insurance, they go to another Asian person who owns a car insurance company. Or, you know, if they are purchasing groceries, they'll go to an Asian market. So in these communities, they're very good at keeping money in their community for 28 days. So that's 28 days in the Asian community, 20 days in the Jewish community, 17 days in the white community, and 6 hours in the Black community. And I talk a lot about the 6 hours in the Black community on my platform, because that is clearly something that is a huge issue. That literally means before the day ends, the money is already out of the community and being spent in obviously other communities or on other things. So let's talk about finances. So debt, credit card debt, student loans, financing services. Everyone now has a cell phone note, which I like to say, through T-Mobile or Verizon or wherever you get through, because phones are not cheap anymore, not at least when I was in college. Financing or any other commercial financing, car note, medical bills, and mortgage. And probably should have put on here mortgage or rent, but technically rent is not considered debt, but we'll get into that later. True or false? And this is a question for the group, so whoever can speak up, please do. True or false, debt can be good?
True.
Very good, true. True. Debt is needed to build credit sometimes. Without applying to credit cards or having loans, you wouldn't be able to build a credit history. Debt is only bad when it's excessive and unnecessary. So for example, when I first graduated from college, or from high school, I mean, at 18, I went to my local bank here and I was like, I need a credit card. Not that I needed a credit card, but I just wanted to build my credit. And so they gave me a credit card. It had an $1,000 limit. And my mother was like, you know, just make sure that you're paying your balances on time and every month. And then, so I got into this habit of every time I would charge something, I had the money in my checkings account. So I would just quickly pay it off. And over time, I was able to build my credit over time. Now, what they don't tell you, what they should tell you, is that if you use over 33% of your credit limit, so then you're actually hurting your credit score. So for example, like I had an $1,000 credit card, I couldn't charge more than $333 on that. Otherwise, I'd be hurting my credit utilization would be over 33%. So even when you get these credit cards, it's okay to use them to build your credit, just don't go overboard and definitely don't max it out. Savings. So savings accounts, money market accounts, online savings account, health savings account, flexible spending accounts. So does everyone know what a money market account, what is that considered? Anyone guess? All right, so a money market account is anything that has a high interest rate. So like, I'm sure you guys have banks that you work with where you have a savings account with the bank. That is considered a money market account. So like a Wells Fargo savings account or a Bank of America savings account, or, you know, any of these are considered money market accounts. Now, they're pretty good in the sense that, you know, if you need that quick cash, they're right there. However, when you are saving for long-term goals, they're actually the worst savings accounts to use. And I'll get into that because they're probably only giving you like a penny every month, maybe 2 pennies if you're lucky. They're not really designed to be for long-term goals, you know? So that's why I would never tell anyone to really get into those accounts with, you know, your Wells Fargos or your US banks or your Bank of Americas or any of those, because they're never going to give you the best interest rates. What I would tell you to do is the next one, online savings accounts. So I do want to talk about this because when I created this presentation a few years ago, online savings accounts were like very high. The interest rates were probably like a 1.75%. Right now they're at 0.6, and that has to do more with the feds right now. So when the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates for debt, so you've been seeing, I don't know if you guys have been aware, but interest rates and mortgages have been lower. So then automatically that means your savings accounts are going to go lower. However, when they do raise the interest rates, that's when your savings accounts. But nonetheless, these are some of the best items right now to save money, because they're going to give you a higher percentage than your Wells Fargo's or your Bank of America's. And these are like, I think Goldman Sachs has one through Marcus, Synchrony Bank. Those are all, Ally Bank. Those are all online savings accounts. I use them. That's where I keep our emergency fund, because those have the best interest rates, because you're going to make the most money on them. And then also credit unions. I didn't put it up here, but credit unions also give better interest rates as well. They're like a hybrid between, I guess, your money market and online savings accounts. They're kind of like a money market account because they're a credit union where you can actually physically go in there, but they give good interest rates like your online savings accounts, because online savings accounts means that there's no brick and mortar type of building. So there's no building, you do everything online. So just so FYI about that. Health savings accounts. So I'm sure you all will live forever and never have anything happen medically or anything. However, if you are like me that has a child, or you have a family or things like that, or even just stuff comes up, right? Because everyone goes to the doctor, everyone gets sick, especially with COVID-19, we all are challenged with medical issues one way or another. Health savings accounts are some of the best accounts in terms of they are pre-tax savings. So say you have a employer, I'm sure most of you are probably still in school, but once you graduate, if you have an employer, you can get an HSA through them, where they'll actually take pre-tax dollars and put them in there. So there's a tax benefit to this. And all of those can be used for, any sort of medical or holistic type of thing. So if I want a massage, I can use my health savings account. If I'm going to the chiropractor, if I'm going to the dentist, I can still use my HSA. They don't have to be just a hospital visit or anything like that. So then moving on to flexible spending accounts. Flexible spending accounts are basically anything like, say something comes up, like I use my flexible spending account for my daycare, for example. Those are good accounts because I can set aside pre-tax savings, again, through my employer. They will put aside money for any emergency when it comes to my son's childcare, or if you have something that comes up with, let's see, like say you're taking care of a sick relative, like that, and you need certain costs covered. Those are all things that you can do with your flexible spending account. So I just really want to highlight that it's not just about the money savings accounts. You can also have advantages of these other accounts, and they're all pre-tax savings. So this is another, I guess, pop quiz. What savings accounts have better interest rates? Online savings accounts or money market savings accounts? A or B? Anyone? Come on.
They're typing in the chat. You can see it there.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh, I think I can't see it because it's in the, but I do. Okay, I see it now. Yes, the chat right here. A. Okay, good. So cool. So yes, A is your answer. An online savings account can, like I said, can give up to 130 times more interest than traditional banks and credit unions. So like I said, at the time that I made this presentation, it was 1.3%, where your Wells Fargo's are 0.10. So like I said, you're getting actual dollars versus actual pennies when you are banking with an online banking account. So just so you know, put your money there, not in a Wells Fargo. It's really sad because I used to work for Wells Fargo, so I'm totally like anti-Wells Fargo now. So now we're gonna get into my specialty, investing. So one of the things that I talk about in my book, Investing for the Everyday Investor, is that there's several ways that you can invest your money. And it's really about making sure that, as young people, you are given a head start. I wish I had known some of these things when I was like 18 to 22 because it probably would have set me up now that I'm in my 30s. So I definitely think that having some leverage when it comes to this financial literacy stuff, when it comes to investing, will only benefit you in the long run. So the first ones that I'm going to go through is retirement account. So most people have heard of 401k or an IRA or a Roth, because these are all things that you can invest in for retirement. The other one that I wanted to highlight was cash value. So this is kind of like whole life insurance. So basically it has a retirement benefit to it. It has a cash value to it, and has a life insurance policy. So I have that. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but those are the retirement accounts that are typically the most popular. 401k and Roth 401k, you can usually get through an employer, or you can start it through like a Fidelity or a Charles Schwab or some of those other companies. They will set you up. Same thing with an IRA. Those are all pre-tax. Now the difference though, and I want to highlight this, is 401k and IRA are pre-taxed. So that means before the government even taxes you, they take that money out of your paycheck and they put it into these accounts. That's why they're considered pre-tax savings, because it's before the government tax you. The benefit of that is that when tax season comes, they don't actually tax you on your pre-tax savings, or like after taxes are taken out, they tax you on that money. So after taxes, after your 401k deductions, after your IRA deductions, that's when they tax you on that money. So essentially, you can lower your taxable income by having these taken from your account. So like, say someone makes $100,000, but they are like, oh, I want to open up a 401k. You can deduct up to $19,500. So the person, say they're like, you know what, I'm going to put all this $19,500, the max, into my bank account. That means that they're only going to be taxed on 80,500. That's it. They're not going to be taxed on the full 100 because that money's been deducted as pre-tax savings. The limit on an IRA, I believe, is 66,000. Same thing. So they'll deduct. So if someone makes 100,000, they're only getting taxed on 94,000. Where the Roth and the cash value is after tax money. So this is after taxes have been taken out. Now you're able to put this money into. The good part about those is that the government can never come for you. So if you say are in retirement and you take money out of your Roth IRA, they're not going to tax you on that money because you've already been taxed on it. Same thing with the cash value. They're not going to take your money, where with the 401k or the IRA, now it's tax time and Uncle Sam is going to be like, where's my cut? So it all has to do with when you want to be taxed, if you want it right away or you want to defer it to retirement. And, obviously there are so many people out there that are pro IRA, pro 401k. I always say, do what's best for you. And I don't believe in doing one thing. So like, I have all of these for a reason, because I want to make sure that even if I get taxed on something, I'm not getting taxed on these other things. So it all balances itself out. So the other thing that I want to get into is brokerage accounts. So brokerage accounts are basically accounts where you can buy stock, you can buy mutual funds, you can buy index funds. I have a brokerage account. I buy stock in it. And my, I guess, piece of advice for that is always buy what you know. So like, I love Amazon. I love Starbucks. I love Target. These are all stocks that I own. Oh, obviously you can buy other stuff that you don't necessarily do or own, but I always say that's a good way to do it, because you know that if you are utilizing these companies, you want to be part equity and not just have an equity in this, but also not just like be a consumer in it, if that makes sense. So like, I was going to Starbucks every single day for like 3 years. And I finally was like, why am I wasting all this money on Starbucks without owning their stock? That's stupid. At least if I get my little latte, I know for a fact that I own pieces of the company. So that's why I decided to buy stock in Starbucks. Same thing with Amazon. COVID-19 has proven that Amazon and me are the best of friends. I had a box coming every single day. I might as well own the stock. So that's what I would say is for anyone who's listening, try to own what you consume. So real estate is another one. So I don't own property, but I do silent invest and I do in real estate. So like I have a friend, he's trying to build his $1 million portfolio. So he always asks for like, hey, do you want to go in on a deal with me? I'm like, sure. So I give him money and he basically uses my money to like buy the property and other investors as well. And then after a certain amount of time, he gives me the money back with my dividends. So these are all ways without owning physical property, because I don't know if I want to be a landlady, but I do know that I want to make money off of real estate. The other thing is I have a real estate crowdfunding account through Fundrise, and I definitely recommend this for anyone on this this conversation, this Zoom call today, is look into Fundrise. You don't need a ton of money. You just need $100. You can get started. I started investing in them last year to kind of just get my feet wet and understand more. I had read about that on one of my favorite bloggers, his blog about Fundrise, and I was curious, so I wanted to see it. I really think it's a great platform for young people to invest in because it gives them the ability to invest in real estate, kind of like a brokerage account in a way. So that's basically what it is. It's REITs, which is real estate investment, funds, basically. Venture capitalists, that is for people who have large amounts of money, or, say you get to a place in your financial journey where you're able to give 20,000 invest in someone's business and really start to make money off of pieces of their business. It's very similar to like what I just described with silent investing, except instead of it being real estate, it's someone's business and you get dividends back from, investing in their business. So like my mother, she had extra money, so she invested in a store in Minnesota and gets dividends every 6 months from her initial investment. So she's considered what you would call a venture capitalist in that way. And then starting a business. This is pretty much how you can catapult your finances. I don't know what your business is, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to make a lot of money. And then that's pretty much how you get into investing, is investing in yourself and in your business. It helps to create multiple streams of income. Like I had told you, I have a small graphic design business. So I use a lot of the profits from that business and invest again into some of these other things that I described. So like my brokerage account or my retirement accounts, those sort of things. So another pop quiz. What's the difference between an IRA account and a cash value? And I'll look in the chat this time. Oops, sorry guys. Let me go back. Oops. Pre-tax, after tax. Good. Perfect, everyone. So yes, so like I said, it's the difference between your pre-tax and your after-tax. It's all about when you want Uncle Sam to come for you and hand out their money and put out their hands. But just know that any one is not worse than the other. It just has to do with what your finances are. Perfect. Okay. So like I said, IRA is a retirement account for after-tax money. It has some good tax benefits during tax season, and this needs to be updated, but it was $5,500 back in 2018. Now it's $6,000, by the way. And then cash value is a whole life insurance policy that has a retirement feature. Every month, the premium you pay is invested as a retirement fund into your account. So these are things that I do like to talk about with anyone and everyone is estate planning, choosing between life insurance policies, whole life versus term life. So like I just got done explaining that cash value is a whole life insurance policy. And basically it's you pay a premium every month and it goes into this cash value feature, or it goes into your retirement account. It's really good for people who say want to leave passed down money. So that it never, like, it doesn't matter if you die at 60, it doesn't matter if you die at 90, that money is always going to be there to pass on to someone else. Where term life insurance, you set a date and say, okay, I'm going to die before 90. So then if you die before 90, that money gets paid out to your loved ones. But the problem is that if you die after 90, eventually the contract actually gets terminated. So you just can't live a long time if you have a term life insurance, or just make sure that number is high. Obviously, the higher the number, the more expensive it will be, because these insurance companies are all about not just making sure they can, pass out money like that. So, and then leaving a will. We may not think that we have a lot of stuff right now, but it's very important to leave a will. As a Minnesotan, I always like to bring up this example with Prince. So when Prince died, I think a few years ago, he left zero will. He had a $50 million estate. It was crazy. And the people who got it was his half siblings. I think his sister was awarded the money, and then some of his other relatives. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, he probably doesn't even like these people. Like, he didn't put them he didn't create a will. Like, but that just shows you, like, if something were to happen to you, you want to make sure that you have a plan for the things that you leave behind. Whether it's, giving it to your parents, or if you have a spouse, giving it to them, or if you have children one day, giving it to them, always have a plan for what you're going to do with your money. It's very important. The other thing is retirement plans and pensions and Social Security. Obviously, I'm talking to young people. I don't know if we're going to have Social Security left by the time it gets to us. What I will say is that it's still good to have a plan on money beyond Social Security. There are a couple companies, like my company right now does have a pension plan, and then my husband does have a pension plan. So those are still companies where I feel like if you have a pension, that is amazing, because that's basically the company's promise that they're going to pay you. Obviously, you still want to make sure, because companies do go down in flames. So you still want to make sure that you still have other assets outside of even your pension plan. And then, like I said, all those retirement accounts that I just talked about, your cash value, things like that, those are very important to still have. So, and then guardianship. So obviously, like, if you are a minor or you have children or anything like that, it's still good to make sure that you have a plan for them and stuff like that. So this is kind of something where I didn't really talk about, I guess, this in that regard, but how many people do you think leave a will? Is it A, 72%, B, 27%, C, 34%, or D, 68%? And I'll go to the chat. Okay, so D, C, B, D, C. What is a will? I'll talk about that. All right, so first let's talk to, so a will is basically a document, or I guess a contract, that's usually put together and developed by a lawyer, or a CPA, honestly. So it could be an accountant or a lawyer, but probably mostly a lawyer, because you want to make sure you have legal representation with this. You want to have notary too. So, but a will is basically like a contract that says that if something happens to you, or say you get indisposed by any sense, so say like you end up like in a really bad accident and you're unable to really vie for yourself, that someone is in charge of your estate and your money and things like that. So I want to be clear about that, is that, it doesn't necessarily mean that you die, but it could mean that you're in a place where you can't even speak for yourself. So, if the accidents happen, people end up in, rehabilitation centers or things like that. So you want to make sure that you have someone who can take care of you, and essentially will be power of attorney, which means that they have the power, the legal authority over your money or your assets or things like that. So I just wanted to clarify that. The question, or the answer to the question, is actually 27%. which is extremely low when you think about it. A lot of people do not leave wills. This is actually more of a rich person thing. Bottom line, most people don't, whether they're white, black, yellow, green, woman, or man, do not leave a will due to the misconception one is not needed. In other words, don't be like Prince. Leave a will for your millions. I am a firm believer that you should always have a plan, because I don't know if anyone has seen that. I think it's on Netflix. It's called I Will Do. It's like it's a new show where the woman basically goes into like a nursing home and like takes over this woman. She's an elderly woman, but they talk about people. They talked literally on about, it was, I forgot what the movie is called. I'll have to think about it later, but basically this woman did not have a will. So if the state seizes your assets, like say the state of Minnesota is like, hey, Angelica, you're no longer able, they'll assign someone. And usually this person makes all these decisions, and my loved ones, like my husband, maybe not my husband, but like say something happened, I don't have a husband or I don't have children, they can come in and make decisions on your money and on your house and things like that. So it's very, very important to make sure that you are leaving a will and that you are doing things to protect yourself. So, and then, so what now? So now that you are in this position of being young people, you know, like I say, all of the things that I went through, you know, make sure that you're really getting out of debt if you're in debt. So I know student loans is a hot topic right now in Congress, in our country, with young people, both millennials and Gen Z. Making sure that you're staying on top of not accumulating a lot of debt. I know that some debt is unfortunately unexpected or can't be helped, but just really making sure, like, even if it's just student loans, make it just student loans. Don't get into crazy credit card debt or consumer debt or anything like that. Save your money. You know, I always say that there's always going to be a rainy day, and it's always good to be safe than sorry and be prepared in these sort of things, because tomorrow's not promised. And we don't know, we can't even guarantee our jobs will be here. We didn't even know that we'd be in a pandemic 2 years ago, and here we are. So that's why I always say it's okay to just have money set aside for anything that may come our way. And then invest our money. So after you get to a certain amount in your savings, I always recommend don't save more than 12 months of your savings, a year's worth of salary. After that, you're losing money because of inflation. So then start to invest your money so you can beat the inflation rate. And then last but not least, retire and be happy with great estate planning. Obviously, it's a long way for most of us, but it does come. And or maybe you want to retire early, because let's be real, no one really wants to work till 65. So at the end of the day, you still want to be able to have these opportunities for yourself so that you are able to have some financial flexibility. So with that said, any questions? And I will go in the chat as well too. So someone asked, what are your thoughts of the growth of inflation in the future? Countries around the world are printing money partly due to pandemic. US and Canadian debt continues to roll with the continued increase. Yeah, that causes hyperinflation. So not to go into some econ class, but we know that printing money causes more inflation. The problem is that I think our economy, and I should say world economies around the world, are being suppressed right now because of COVID-19. A lot of businesses and a lot of industries were really affected by it. So the demand was not there anymore, but the supply was. And so when that typically happens, you see a kind of a ripple effect. And we all know the world is global. We're not going to be able to live in a bubble in these sort of times. I mean, look at the pandemic. Technically, this wasn't even, this has touched everywhere. So that's why it's important for the feds to really watch those interest rates, because the lower what they're trying to do is create more demand. So we saw it with the housing market. When they lowered the interest, the mortgage rates, the demand for housing went up. It skyrocketed. That's why you see people buying. The problem with that is how, in the economy in the long run. So I think that a lot of those governments, they have to just make sure that they are not overdoing it with printing the money, and they're creating ways that people are spending more. That's what we want. That's why the stimulus checks are here, to make people spend more money. The problem is a large portion of those people save that money. So it's not really going to be, it's going to be sitting in banks, not really going to be filtered into the economy like we would like to see. So, I mean, if you can afford to, spend some, I guess, to save our economy. But I also understand if you're saving the money, because it makes sense too. Thanks, guys. I'm glad I gave the presentation. I saw that there was a couple more questions. Let me go up a little bit because I want to make sure. How much money should you start with when trying to invest? Honestly, $20. You don't need a whole, so it's an app and it's a brokerage account called Stockpile. What I like about them is that you don't need to have a whole share of, you can have $20 worth of Amazon. So it's a good way for you to get your feet wet in investing without having a ton of money. You can buy $10 worth, $5 worth. It's just a good way for you to do it, honestly. So you don't need a lot of money. And then do you recommend? Yes, I do recommend investing in mutual funds, especially if you're just starting out. That's what I did. I actually started investing in mutual funds in college. Up a brokerage account with TCF Bank, and they and that's how I actually started. That was my first investment. And as you invest with retirement accounts, are they tax advantage? What would be the benefit of having a brokerage account? That's a good point. So brokerage accounts are like how do I say this? I'm trying to create an analogy. Brokerage accounts are like, once you set your foundation. So your first foundation is paying off debt, right? Your second foundation is saving a good amount, anywhere from 6 to 9 months of savings. Then it's retirement. Then it's brokerage account. What you want to do is kind of create like levels to this. And brokerage accounts, even though they're after tax money, they're still not taxed at like a paycheck level. So like they're only going to take 20% versus like if you have a paycheck, they're going to take whatever tax bracket you fall under. So I still think brokerage accounts are good ideas because it's still a way for you to make money. And honestly, I should say return on asset is still greater than any tax rate that you're going to get, because you still are making money. Even if you're getting taxed 20%, you still get to keep 80% of your profit on brokerage accounts. So it's still a good investment to do. How can we educate ourselves at 18? Yes. So I'm reading right now The Millionaire Next Door. I would highly recommend it to any young person. I wish I read it at 18. Because that book talks a lot about lifestyle inflation, which is where you make more money and you end up spending more money. It helps keeps your spending habits under control, and it talks a lot about not having a high consumption luxury vehicle, just keep the same car and continue to invest now more of that money into other things. So having a higher savings rate for yourself as you make more money. Trust me, I did it for a little bit. After every time I made more money, my lifestyle went up a little bit. And then I had a child and was like, I need to get my life together. So I definitely would recommend The Millionaire Next Door. That's a really great book. I really like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I like Jen Sincero's You're a Badass at Making Money. These are all good books because they help you to kind of think about money in a different way and to get yourself acclimated into what financial literacy means. And then let me see if I can, it was really, can you recommend? Oh, so yeah, you mentioned where teens can invest in real estate. What is it called? It's called Fundrise. So it's really good, great platform for, making sure that, you can get started in real estate investing. So, and I think that was it. So I think I answered all the questions.
Thank you for your presentation. You covered a lot of different areas, which is incredible. So thank you so much again for that awesome
Of course. Thanks for having me, Armida.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Well, you guys have a good rest of the day. And like I said, you can always catch me on IG at Financial Lioness or on my blog at www.financiallioness.com. I always say hi and I always follow back. So, all right. Talk to you later.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Okay, so we're approaching the end of the event, but before you go, I just want to share my screen for a closing ceremony presentation. You can find her Instagram at Financial Lioness, so you can reach out to her there for the people asking in the chat. So again, thank you so much for joining us during the past 3 days, whether you joined for the first time today or you've been coming since the beginning. We really enjoyed having you guys in this community, and it's incredible that you engage with all of our speakers so much and you're constantly asking questions. So thank you so much for your presence. Also, shout out to the EmpowerEcon team for their hard work during the event, whether you're part of the event planning team, curriculum design, marketing, or any other team. You guys have done an incredible job during the past 3 days and just during the past few months leading up to the event. So shout out to the team for that. Also, make sure to complete the survey if you want to have a chance to win a free finance book. This is only for US and Canadians. If you want to enter, make sure to enter your email in the feedback form so that we're able to enter you in the giveaway. And also stay tuned for your camp certificates. I know that many people have been asking for that. So also, if you want to receive those, when you fill out the feedback form, make sure to enter your full name so that we can include those on the surveys. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And you can keep up with us on our Instagram, EmpowerEcon, where you'll be able to learn about our future events. And also we post weekly Finance Friday content, so you're able to continue learning there. And with that said, I'm going to share the link to the feedback survey and you guys can start filling that out. So I'm going to put that into the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for your kind words as well. And glad to hear that you guys have enjoyed the event. So again, if you want to be entered in the book giveaway, make sure to enter your email, and also for the certificates, make sure to enter your full name. So thank you to everyone who has filled out the forms, and make sure to do so if you have not done so already.